Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Memes of the Week. The best thing you can do for this channel is smash the like button on this video like it's a pre-transition Ellen page, so it reaches a wider audience. And now on with the memes. Number one, the New York Post is wondering why so many young people in their 20s, 30s, and 40s are having strokes and doctors are baffled by it. It must be climate change. Maybe it's all the booster juice that people are drinking these days. Maybe someone should do the science and figure it out. But they won't, because then that'll reveal the truth. Another new study also shows that people that are conspiracy theorists don't have myocarditis. Up next, the daughter of a Boulder terror suspect is an award-winning student, hoping to go to medical school. But now she's going to get deported. This is one of those rare occasions where they actually are deporting future doctors or engineers. But maybe they need more doctors in Terroristan than they do in America. I'm sure she'll be just fine becoming a doctor in Egypt. I'm glad to see that the West is starting to no longer educate the children of terrorists. Number three is the UK coming to its senses. This judge says that mothers should have their children taken away if they don't let the father see them. Sadly, this judge said this 15 years ago now, in 2010, and nothing ever happened. I wouldn't be surprised if they canceled him for saying this. I thought for a moment that the tide was turning. I'm sure today he'd be locked up in jail if this judge said something like this in a tweet. Moving on, here's the difference between searching for something in the year 2000 versus today. Back then on Google, you could find what you wanted. Today you get AI misinformation, sponsored results, and products before you ever get your search query. Back in 2000, Google search results were better because they were based on dmos.org or the Open Directory project. Every entry in the directory was relevant and Google would crawl through it and pull data from it. In some ways, directories are better than search engines. I was actually an editor for DMOS. Not to mention that there was little to no Indian spam results back then when you search for something. Number five, this young woman is shocked that her mother called the dentist without hesitating, and not needing any time to work up to the decision. Why are young people like her in the habit of procrastinating? I guess it comes down to too much anxiety to be a normal functioning human being these days. I have another problem. I would call the dentist right now and schedule an appointment, but most of them are shysters, and they say I have multiple cavities, even though my last dentist said I didn't have any. Up next, this woman is going viral for hijacking her son's birthday party to show off her sexy yet inappropriate outfits. I guess that's better than stealing the virginity from some of her son's friends. This makes me wonder what her husband thinks of this. Based on her background, there's a 70% chance that there is no husband. If he does exist, she's going to have to print this out and send it to him in prison. Look at this poor guy. No one notices his hat because his mom is an HOE. Number seven, when is this curve going to get flattened? It's the national debt of the United States, and it's going to keep going up faster and faster until America is no longer able to service its debts. And then there's going to be a currency crisis with hyperinflation. That's the only way the debt holders are going to be made whole, in worthless dollars. And yet people think that Bitcoin is a scam when the United States will print its currency into infinity. And if you don't believe in Bitcoin, at least hold some gold or real estate for the long term, for God's sake. Moving on, this old lady says that old cooch is better than no cooch. Good to see that she's summing up her value to men as nothing more than a body part. I'd rather stick my schwing-schwang in an electrical socket than her. She's signaling her desperation. At this point, she doesn't expect the chat to commit to her, but she'll take one for just one night. An old geezer once asked me if I knew what an 80-year-old cooch tasted like. I said I don't know, but I bet it tastes a lot like Depends. Number 9, a 34-year-old man is dealing with domestic violence at the hands of his wife. An anonymous person gets back to him and says that his wife might be struggling with mental issues and hasn't had someone there to provide her guidance. So basically, it's not his wife's fault that she beats him up in front of their daughter. This is in India. No wonder Indian men are leaving to go to the West. They're trying to get away from situations like this. Up next, here's Bonnie Blue at the age of 25. She looks closer to 45. I think this ends a myth that semen is good for your skin. Plus, I don't think her body is handling the abuse she's giving it all that well. If you want to know what the good old 2000 schwing-schwang stare looks like, then this is it. Being with her is like buying a 2-year-old car with 100,000 miles on it. For men, the equivalent is a soldier that came home from WW2 with shell shock. Number 11, which one of these 4 horsemen of the Gooner apocalypse ruined us? I say Tinder because it wrecked the dating market and family formation. Women now only want the top 5% of men and swipe right on them. But there aren't enough such guys to go around, so these guys clean up, while the rest of the men out there get nothing. Meanwhile, 60 to 70% of all relationships start on Tinder now. So that means 95% of men have no chance there. Moving on, former LA Dodgers baseball player Trevor Bauer won $310,000 as a judgment from a woman that accused him of a false allegation. It cost him potentially $100 million because they threw him out of the league. Even if she went to prison for 50 years, that still wouldn't be enough. How long before even the top 5% of men, including the sports ball players, eventually go their own way? He probably won't even get that 300K because she's broke. Number 13, James Woods has been ostracized by Hollywood and has lost many of his movie roles because of hot takes like these. That Poland and Hungary aren't enduring the chaos and violence of mass migration because they enforce their borders and laws. Glad to see someone in Hollywood standing up for their principles. Just imagine how much worse the situation is going to get in the West before people finally take up arms against the invaders, and even the legal ones. Up next, this so-called trans woman is going around ranking every single woman's bathroom at Disney World. So stunning and brave. Maybe someone needs to put this individual in jail. You'd think that this is a kink for him, but it's probably the fact that he's been doing it for attention. It's all rage bait trying to get conservatives upset about this. If we ignore people like this and don't reply to their posts, then they'll just go away and try and do something else for attention. Number 15, a bunch of Muslim students raped a 14-year-old girl in school in Sweden. But they remain in the school because the principal says that the rapists are victims too. The scariest thing is this happened 8 years ago now. Just imagine how much worse it's gone since then. This is what happens when people show too much compassion for criminals and not enough compassion for victims. As for this story, as far as I'm concerned, the principal is also complicit in the act. Moving on, here's proof of how enrichment works. Denmark did a study and found that immigrants from the Middle East, North Africa, Pakistan, and Turkey were draining the public finances. Denmark, much like Hungary and Poland, is now signaling that migrants and refugees are no longer welcome there. And remember, guys, this doesn't even include the cost of crime, rape, and the loss of high-trust societies. This is also the reason that Canada's GDP per person is flat or falling. Number 17, a new study suggests that white British people will be a minority in their own country in 40 years. I'm surprised that 70% of the country is still white. In Canada, it's also around 70%. Which makes me think this is being simultaneously planned in Australia, Canada, and the UK. But I think there's hope. People will either fight or leave their countries and watch them collapse. Get your alternate passports ready if you have to leave temporarily. Up next, what's the name of this body shape? Is it the Michelin Man? How about sumo tumors or gluttony on parade? She's so fat that I bet when she goes to school, she just sat next to everyone. One thing's for sure though, she's not finger-licking good. When Ozempic becomes a cheap generic drug one day, you know that she's going to be losing all that weight. I was going to nickname her short-lived, but after she loses the weight, she won't be. Number 19, this woman says don't judge women by pounds, and they won't judge us by inches. What a load of hooey. Because they'll judge you based on your height, your looks, your wealth, status, and so much more. Besides, a man needs more inches in the groin department to get through all those pounds. Maybe that's why God gifted black men with longer schlongs. Hey ladies, you know you can control how many pounds you have on your body, and men can't control their inches. Moving on, Mary here says that society would be so much better if women were more willing to engage in justified violence against men. But what exactly is justified violence? If it did become publicly acceptable for women to smack around dudes, then most men would simply stay away from women entirely. Even the chads. Also, if a man said that society would be better if men were allowed to smack around women, then he would get banned. Number 21, many guys will cry when spicy content is generated by AI, but they'll smile and cry simultaneously when they realize that all the OF and social media money made by women will be transferred to AI nerds. Looks like human fertility rates are about to fall off a cliff. On the bright side, once all these ethos are unemployed, many will sell box cheaply on the streets. If it goes down to $50 for an hour in the West, you could see it boom in brothels. Up next, here's the sunburn competition in New Orleans. Who the hell is doing this to themselves intentionally? Hello, melanoma and other forms of skin cancer. Plus, this is obviously fake because you would die of shock if your body was burned this badly in the Skin Cancer Olympics. Besides, there are easier ways to say that something is a whites and possibly Asians only competition. I was hoping to see some red hot hotties, but again it's fake. Number 23, why is it that young women cosplaying like this make all the older women go crazy? It's because these women are cute unlike them. They're probably jailbait, but they're still cute. Also, is it my imagination or the girl on the right is a little bit too short? Maybe they're a mother-daughter team like these two. But seriously, who would dress up her daughter like that? And I hope it's AI generated. Moving on, this guy just found out that his girlfriend has a penis. When he saw it, he was shocked, just a bit surprised, and he gave her, I mean him, a Hummer. I smell horse poop. I don't think this ever happened. I think it's just a made-up story because trans women can't easily find decent men to date, and so therefore they're trying to make it more socially acceptable to be with them by circulating propaganda like this. Number 25 and the last one here is the myth of consensual sex. Women can get consent today, but they can take it away retroactively in the future. They might decide to say that you raped them if you ever become rich one day, or get a younger, hotter looking girlfriend. That's why you should keep your social media as private as possible, if you're a modern man. Looks like that 30-year-old hit the wall at warp speed. Must be a new record. So that's it for another Memes of the Week. Please give this video a like to push it up in the algorithm, and so new viewers can find it. If you enjoy this series and want me to keep making it, then donate at the PayPal subscribe star links below. Anyways, enjoy the rest of your day, and cheers.